So
followed me across the country. We almost drift out to sea, never to be found again. I pulled it together, and I'm flying an airplane, and I'm mapping this out, and I found the airport and landed.
Another one?
My other death story was when I was 2, and life's a bitch, and then you die.
You do business in all generations. You can go with like our parents' generation, Gen Z, what the new kids are doing, texting, social, TikToking each other, Snapchatting.
Yep.
You can do it all. Welcome to the podcast. My good friend Candice Candelori. We went to college together. You moved to California. I moved to California. You were Los Angeles on your amazing acting career. I was making $15,000 a year running a sport and social club in San Diego. Thanks for coming.
Let's talk about this though. Then you moved back to, or then I moved back to Alexandria. Then you moved back to Alexandria.
You moved back first?
Yep.
So I followed you.
You followed me across the country, then back across the country.
I'm just not creative. I just look at that. I just gotta follow you. Great to have you on the show. I want to ease in with some conservative stories, like the time we almost drowned in the Bahamas. Spring break, 1999.
1999.
Bahamas.
You keep saying Bahamas. It's Cancun.
Cancun. They all seem similar to me. I've been trying to explain to my family that I literally, I should have died that day.
Yes, and it's a weird thing because when I tell it too, it's such a funny story that I tell it with a smile on my face, so no one really understands the severity of that we really almost drowned. And I don't even mean we almost drowned. We almost drift out to sea, never to be found again.
That's true, but I wouldn't have been able to even drift much farther because I was completely out of energy. Okay? So, let's talk about it. So, we were on a raft.
Well, you weren't on the raft. You were, swimming around.
Swimming around the
raft. Okay, I was on the raft trying to get, a good tan.
Yeah.
I laid my head back. All of a sudden, I sat up, and I was like, Latane.
It's 500 feet away to the shore.
Where are we?
Yeah.
How do we get home?
Yeah.
How do we get to the sand?
I mean, I'm getting nervous right now thinking of this. Okay, so we look back. I'm like, oh my God, look how far we are. And then we are just floating super fast. So we jump off the raft thinking we can't be on the raft because then the worst part, though, is we released the raft.
Yeah. Yes. Well,
so now
because it was weighing us back because you were trying to pull the raft so we could get to shore. And I was like, yo, ditch it.
So we ditched the raft.
Yes.
And now we can't touch, and waves are just crashing over. And I remember
well, we were at first we were in
touching.
We were in the what's it called, the undertow. So that we were kind of in a wave free zone, but we were getting pulled out. Seriously.
I remember just oh my God, here comes the wave, and I pop up, I get up again, another wave, and I'm like, so I'm screaming because I see Jim Cooper, hey Jim, long time. I see him, and he's football player's biggest drama. I'm like, Jim, how? I'm screaming top of my lungs, and nothing.
He was doing sprints.
It was so loud out there.
It was, yes. And so all of a sudden, and I was just thinking, oh my gosh, this is how people disappear when they go on. You see it on the news all the time.
And when would they have even found us? Found that we were missing?
I don't know.
People where are they? Oh, they must be out touring or something. I don't know.
Right, because we were with a group of friends. It was such a casual thing that they
didn't have cell phones back then.
Oh, right.
So, you're just we haven't found this person for a while. What, so they start looking for us 4 days later? Already dead, because you're dehydrated, you can't drink. So all of a sudden, we are swimming, and I said to myself, which is funny. Yeah.
Will come up later in another situation. But we're swimming along, and I thought to myself, I am not fucking dying today. This is not happening.
I'm glad you had that attitude.
And all of a sudden, you were like, oh, I found a rope.
There was a rope. Okay.
And I was like, what?
It was.
You were grab on.
Yeah, it was. The thing that was so amazing about it was, okay, so I grabbed this rope. It's just out a mile, a half a mile rope, which obviously they put it out there for people that get stuck in the undertow.
I don't
Thank
think
God
so.
they put it out there.
I don't know. I don't know why it was there. Was it?
Yeah, I think so because we were able to pull ourselves all the way in. Now, what I will say is, you and I were 15, 20 feet away now at this point. So the fact that I just randomly reached down and there's a rope and I hold on to it and I'm grab the rope and then you reach down and it hits you, it was truly the most lucky thing ever because
it was bizarre.
If we had missed the rope, I'm not joking when I say this, I had no energy left. I had nothing left.
No.
I was like, just holding onto the rope was all I had. And I just could slowly pull in because I was so exhausted. And then
we got to the shore, and it was one of those ropes that from like old school plastic ropes, and we had just plastic splinters all up our arms. And
I literally, I think I laid on the sand for like 30 straight minutes after that.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I mean, looking back, so rope doesn't hit us, we're gone. I have nothing left. I have no energy. I mean, I'm not joking when I say it looked to be like 300 feet from shore.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it sounds far, but it was.
We were far away. Because what's so funny about it is how that freaking rope appeared. I mean, it's like the world didn't want us to die.
They didn't want us to die because I just want to go back. There was no other way to survive. Were you as tired as me?
If 100, well, okay. I was a swimmer. However, I still was.
Yeah.
But I mean, if that rope hadn't been there.
That was it.
Yeah,
just like that.
That was it.
My kids need to watch this because it's like, look, guys, oh, you think it's funny? Oh, I'm floating out. You don't fight agaght water. You don't have to fight against
water. Yeah, the ocean's no joke. And now with all the sharks, I'm done.
I'm very scared of the sharks. All right, well, look, I'm glad we survived.
I know.
You know, both of us. And what a story, though. But no one believes it, really. Like, weird. They're just messing around. Like, no, that was it.
Yeah.
On to other things. So you move out to Los Angeles. A little acting, modeling career. Tell me about Los Angeles. Tell me about that move. Tell me all of it.
Oh, LA. Well, it's completely different now.
Yeah.
I guess I feel like celebrities, producers, they were just more tangible. Mm-hmm. You would actually see them at a party or, an event. So it was easy. It's like, I'm bold, so I would just walk up and be like, James Cameron's there, and I'm like, can I get an audition for your movie? Because I knew, because I would follow, I knew what was coming and stuff. But now, my niece actually moved out to LA. Yep. I think in hopes of having some of the experiences I had, which I think they're few and far between now.
Industry changes all over the place, including real estate, right? So we talk about a changing industry. We have the NAR lawsuit. You and I were just talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't know how it all came about. I don't know all the specifics. And like, do the buyers realize, because the buyers brought the suit into a degree?
So I'm not 100%. I've heard that it's lawyers that actually brought it up, brought the suit to a head, but I think it's because either buyers complained to their friend that was a lawyer, or lawyers got a bunch of buyers together that were irritated. But the way it's constructed this way for a reason. And actually, my husband is a mortgage broker, so he was explaining to me that if it's not if the buyer commission is not incorporated into the closing costs, there's no way a bank is going to go for this, because they're not going to take a chance that the buyer is going to just bring that money to the table later. Yep. So it has to be incorporated into those closing costs. But what I think is interesting is if it's the buyers that brought it up, or if it's the lawyers that got together. Yeah. Well, two things. One is, a lot of people would say that a listing agent works harder. I actually think the buying agent works harder. Mm-hmm. When you're working for a buyer, you are working for them for potentially a very long time. Sure. You're driving around showing multiple homes constantly.
Sure.
And it's just a lot more time spent, and you have to educate them on the things that are good about the house and not so great about the house.
Very difficult in a seller's market like we are in now, right? I mean, it's just how hard is it for a listing agent, in the market when it's set up like this, right?
Well, most houses in this area, I mean, we're talking about Arlington, DC, we're a major metropolitan area. Yeah. I mean, most of these homes are going to sell. Mm-hmm. It's rare if a house just never sells. Yep. I mean, that being said, I always think the listing agent, not to say that isn't difficult as well and isn't time consuming, but you do all the paperwork, you get, you have a photographer come in, you stage the property, you have it go on the market, and then you just sit and wait. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, you're still marketing, you're still showing up for open houses, you're still, but I don't know. I think a buyer's agent has it harder.
It is tough.
And they're getting slack for maybe not doing work, because now buyers can, look at everything online and shop online. But you still have to go see a property. You still need the buyer agent to get into the house to see it in person. I mean, I guess some people buy sight unseen. But why it was brought up because buyers are upset that they can't negotiate and dictate what their agent is getting, commission-wise, right? So the problem is that, once again, two things. When you have a property and you're going to go sell your property, you should have some say in what you're offering another agent to bring, because, you know, the more commission you offer that buyer agent, I hate to say it, but a buyer's agent is more apt to try to sell your property, right? And if it's your asset that you're selling, you should be able to, I think, have some power in that commission cost. Then the other thing is that a buyer agent doesn't realize that, okay, now you're saying you want to pay your own fee so that you can decide what that fee is for your agent, but it's negotiated currently into the price of the home. The price of the homes aren't going to change because some buyers are getting together and filing a lawsuit. So now the buyers are kind of screwing themselves.
So the buyers, in the sense, have added more cost to their plate, right?
Exactly.
Because the prices aren't going to lower because there's there's less commission that they are paying.
Right, and that's what I think they were after. Maybe they had a shitty buyer's agent. They're like, well, I don't want to give them the 2.5%, which is pretty norm for around here. They're like, I want to give them 1%. Well, cool. Now you're giving them what you were going to give them plus 1%.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so
now you're actually going to be paying them more.
You grew up in the area. You've been here for a long time. You've been in the real estate industry for a long time. Your dad has been in the real estate industry for a long time. Your dad was a pilot. You're a pilot. Some interesting information people may not know. Tell me about growing up, how this all came about. You were in California. You moved back here. Give me the whole real estate pilot story.
Okay. So I feel like probably I'm the son that my father never had. He had 3 girls. He's screwed. He says it all the time. No, I grew up with him doing real estate in particular, mostly Waynewood, although just the area, and he invested in real estate. But I grew up with him, looking at houses in the neighborhood I was growing up in. I played in 90% of the homes, so I know the layouts really well. But he would always come home every once in a while, and there'd be like a big house in the area, and he'd be like, Joanne, which is my mom. Do you want to go see this house? And so I just grew up going to look at really cool homes. And cool homes in the area, and I loved it. And I think that just kind of stuck with me. Then when my parents, I guess it was like in high school, when I was like, where do you want to go to school? What do you want to do? And I had no freaking clue, because I wanted to be an actress. So I was like, I don't know, can I move to Hollywood? Like, what are we doing here? Do I really need to go to college? I'm done with school, which I'm so thankful that I did stick out.
Well, you went to the school.
We wouldn't have almost died together.
Exactly, right?
So when I was trying to decide what to do, I ended up actually in high school taking flying lessons, because my parents volunteered it. They were like, do you want to take flying? I think my dad kind of was. And I was like, sure, that's cool.
I was scared of flying. Scared of heights. I was a tall person. Scared of heights, scared of flying. Were you ever scared of flying, ever?
I wasn't until, and I shouldn't say I'm scared of flying. I wasn't ever scared of death until I had a child.
Gotcha. I thought you were about to tell me another drowning type story up in the air. But
I do have.
Do you have one of those? Of course you do.
Okay. Yeah. So I started taking flying lessons. I worked at an airport. I worked at the airport that I was taking the flying lessons in, because it helped pay, because it's very expensive. And I got my pilot's license. I actually took Jeff up.
Nice. Our buddy Jeff.
That kind of helped direct. I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll go to Embry-Riddle, because it's an aeronautical. I was looking at schools like that, and then I was kind of thinking, well, technology, like aeronautical, like technology stuff. So I ended up at JMU. And I ended up majoring in science and technology, probably because I'm more of a science and technology brain, but I was kind of thinking it went better with flying than any other major. And also, little tidbit of
Flying's
information.
About math. You gotta follow the controls, not look at the sky.
So here we go.
JFK.
So this is my story. I was in the airplane, and speaking of math, I had to use a protractor. This is like, I'm sure they have like something to map things out now. In high school, we had to map out our flight, where we were going. And in mapping out the flight and where we were going, I mapped everything out. You're supposed to take it to your teacher looks over everything. And in looking over everything, he was like, yep, you're approved to go. Well, it turns out I was 180 degrees in the wrong direction, or 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Either way, I ended up over the Chesapeake Bay, and I'm supposed to be landing a plane.
Who are you
myself.
With?
Myself.
In high school, you're flying a plane by yourself?
By myself. And I am doing, it's called the cross country.
Okay.
You have to go to 3 airports and jump. You've got to land at an airport. You got to do 3 takeoffs and landings. Okay. So I am on my second one. I'm supposed to be landing at a certain time, and I'm running out of fuel. And I'm over the Chesapeake Bay, and I don't see the airport.
All right, what do you do?
And I realized something was wrong. I was like, something is wrong. There's an emergency call line where you're calling basically a tower, and it's probably at National Airport.
So you call them.
And you're not.
Do they know where you are somehow?
First of all, when you're training, they're like, do not call this number unless you absolutely have to. So I took a moment in the plane, and I was like,
you need to call them.
I'm gonna die. I'm like this.
This is the time.
It is now. Time is now. So I called. They gave me They were like, yes, this airport is close to you. So I ended up landing in an airport that I wasn't even supposed to.
Yeah.
Which people don't think about this. There's small airports all over the place.
Do they know where you are? Is there something tracking you?
Yes. There's a tracker.
So this is where you are.
You've seen Lost. The plane goes down.
Yeah, I guess so. So there's a tracker on everything. But I didn't know if it was I was only on commercial planes.
Yeah,
they have them on all planes.
Yes. So, mainly because you have to stay out of
people's
you have to stay out of the big airplanes' airspace. When we're close to National Airport here.
See, that's another thing. I didn't know that. So I just
you got to stay low. So
but
they
meaning,
can fly
I didn't know they tracked even small propeller planes or smaller planes. So that's interesting. And so, what did they tell you to do?
They gave me the coordinates.
Yeah.
And I had to then bust out a foldable map.
Yes.
There's a piece. I'm flying an airplane,
yes,
mind you.
You're flying.
And I had to get a paper out of
I feel like there should be another person in the plane.
Well,
when
no,
you're in high
I'm saying
school.
now there has to be. Well, I don't know. Does cell phones work up there? I mean, I guess they kind of do when you're flying commercial. Anyways, I had to bust out a paper and a freaking protractor. And I am mapping out my new route and where I need to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I had a moment where I slapped myself on the face and I was like, if you do not get it together, you are going to die. It is
scary.
Death story number 2.
Though. Yeah, death story number 2. This is very impressive, but you pulled it together. You're still here today.
I pulled it together. And I'm flying an airplane and I'm mapping this out. And I found the airport and landed. It was awesome.
Man, so, I know nothing about
that. But scary.
Yeah, very scary.
And at that moment, I thought to myself, I was clearly shaken. And I thought to myself, I don't know if I want to have 700 some people's lives in my hand.
Sure.
If I died, I probably wouldn't know any better.
Do you have another one?
My other death story was when I was 2, and my mom was like, you did not almost die. I was in the baby pool, and I was in an inner tube and flipped over, and I remember seeing my mom. And it's weird as I
remember this?
I remember the thought at 2.5 years old going, I'm going to die right now.
Oh, my God.
And I can see it. Yeah. I can see the inner tube.
You see that they're not looking at you?
They're talking. They're in a
talking.
conversation.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, my mom doesn't see me right now. I'm going to die. I was probably underwater for 2 seconds. But the weird thing is that thought went through my mind when I was 2.5.
Yeah. No, innate. You just know. You know you do what you have to do to survive.
Yeah.
That is really interesting. So tell me about your dad. I mean, your dad,
yes.
Your dad was in real estate for a while. He was also a pilot. Did he work multiple jobs at once?
Yes.
Tell me about his career.
My dad graduated from the Naval Academy, and he took his commission in the Air Force and flew helicopters in Vietnam.
Okay.
He rescued people. It was crazy. And then he doesn't talk about it much, so I know few and far between stories.
Yeah.
But then he came back and actually became a pilot for United Airlines. He became an elementary school teacher and taught at Stephen Foster, which is now Walt Whitman, and became a real estate agent.
Pilot, teacher, agent, and is it true he was doing all 3 at once?
He was doing all 3 at once.
That's impressive.
It's crazy.
Very impressive. He taught you some skills over the years.
Yes.
And as you said before, you would go to a lot of the open houses. I actually remember doing that. After college, I was living here with my college girlfriend at the time up in Burke, Virginia, and her dad was in real estate, and so we would go and look at these mansions all over the area and go through and be like, wow, obviously it's got the movie room. Oh, it's got,
Yeah.
you kind of like get to see all these like layouts.
There are some
I know what
fancy
you're talking
houses
about.
here around here.
Yeah. No, it was actually enjoyable. I kind of created a little love for real estate too.
Yeah.
By doing that.
Yeah, we'll see.
There you go. Yeah. So
You're
similar
indirectly,
stories.
yeah.
So I am following everything you do. Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, no, I mean, and we all know you were an actor too.
Oh, wow. Look at this call out.
Yeah.
These are things I don't keep those low.
You were on
That's
a
funny.
TV show?
Yeah.
Does anyone ever talk about that?
I
Did
don't
we talk
think-
about you
I don't think people know
being
about
on the
TV
Mark
show.
Cuban TV show?
Mark Cuban's TV show,
Yeah.
worst TV show ever. It was called The Benefactor.
It
We
was
used to joke it was called The Benefailure.
And now he's like retiring from everything.
Yeah, and then of course what happens? Oh, he goes on this one TV show, it's a failure. The next one, biggest hit ever, Shark Tank.
Oh.
Right? He was in Shark Tank for 15 years, so just missed it.
Yeah.
$1 million. So that was to win $1 million.
Yep.
It started with 16, down the final 6. Here's the story, because I look bad on TV, because you have to if you're going to kick someone off, as you should. So he goes, all right, come back in 24 hours, be a rock star. And he handed each person $1,000. So I thought I came up with a pretty decent idea, which was, all right, I'm going to make a website, bearockstar.com, and we're going to interview famous rock stars online. And this is when the internet was just starting. So you can search your favorite rock star, and then you can see an online interview. Now, there was a movie that had just come out, Rockstar, with Mark Wahlberg, and he's on the cover with a jacket and no shirt, and he puts his hands in. So we're all presenting our story. And I'm all about making fun of myself.
I know.
I mean, it's not like I got great abs over here. I'm in good shape. So I put on the outfit, and it's kind of my introduction to the presentation. Does not play well on TV. It just, like, there was no, he's like, why is he dressed up? It's like, oh, it's the Rockstar movie, Mark Wahlberg. It was a bad move. I should have been holding a picture of it or something. So he's like, yeah, I don't get the dress up. So anyway, got kicked off the show. Lost $1 million. But it's fine.
Yeah,
it's
all
fine.
right.
No big deal. But then that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I used to pick your brain on that kind of stuff.
I know.
Amazing career by your dad. What's something you've learned from him that really stands out?
Well, first of all, his work ethic. He's very empathetic, so he's always about like taking the whole picture, to understand the whole picture before, I guess, making a judgment call. And then also he's really good about educating others. And one of the main things, though, that I think I've taken with me in life is he said this to me when I was a little girl, and it has stuck out, and I hear him saying it on the daily.
Yeah.
But he was like, life's a bitch and then you die.
What I've been noticing recently, I'm 45 years old, is like, and I was just bringing this up yesterday, is, I'm in the Cub Scouts now, or I'm at all these things for my kids. I'm the old dad. All these other dads, they're like 35, 30, and it's like, wow. Like, I didn't think I was old. I've been convincing myself I was youngish. And then all of a sudden, I'm like almost 10 years older than the other dads in the same group of age kids.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary,
I know,
right?
me too.
And then, but it's a good point. It's like, wait a second. So if I did the math, because I just remember being 30, and that was 15 years ago. So now I'm going to be 60? Just like that?
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, like, wait. You really jumped ahead.
Right? But, that 15 years went so fast. I mean, it happens like that. Guy I knew very well. He was the founder of Color Run. Passed away yesterday. 44 years old. He actually, Color Run was like the most successful fun runs we had back in the day. So ours was electric run. We had this a wipeout run. We had these obstacle races, and this guy, he was an interesting character. But what he did was very, very impressive. He would get 20, 30,000 people a race, change the industry. He sold his business for a lot of money, and then about 10 years ago, he got diagnosed with cancer, and he's been fighting it, and just like that, gone. So it's like you hear, it's like, gosh, it's so short. It's kind of, it goes along with your dad's quote.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think, yes. However, I think my dad was just more meaning that there's a lot of annoying shit in life.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point.
So deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it, perspective.
And then all you're going to do is die. So just deal with the shit.
You might as well deal with it because you're going to die anyway. Oh, man. That's good advice. I did get to meet your dad at a closing this year. I've heard about him for ages.
No,
I met him in college, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think, because yes, he came over to the house. I wasn't even there. You came over to my house with Jeff.
Hung out with your dad a little bit back then. Not a big deal. Being a pilot, right? Your dad was a pilot. How did you make the decision to be a pilot? Like, were you flying when you were like 3 and 4 with your dad?
I think what it was is I looked at my dad's lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I liked the lifestyle he had. And I was like, I'm going to do that. Because when he was a pilot, he would be gone for 2 or 3 days and then be home for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then be gone for 7 days and then be home for like 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because I look at that and I can see how it's a great thing because you get so much time with your kids.
Right.
But then, you got the week away and you're like...
And
so
growing up, he was gone on Christmas a lot. So
Yeah.
my mom would lie to me when I was a little girl and be like, Christmas is next week. Or she'd push Christmas up because he would be gone. So I wouldn't. I mean, and then I started playing with my friends, and I'm like, wait a second, there it goes. And then also him being a real estate agent, he invested in properties and has a bunch of homes, and
he's been accumulating the properties, rental properties over the years. And someone once told you don't do that, which
it was an agent in the area.
Why did they say too hard to deal with?
I guess, they had a renter that wouldn't get out of the property or something, There are those situations, but I mean, you'll eventually get them out. I mean, it can be annoying, but my dad has like a handful of properties that are paid off, and he sits back and collects rent checks. Like,
it's a really good idea.
Because I know you're investing.
I've done them, but I look back, I feel like I've should have done way more. I should accumulate way more properties. I did some house flips. I wish I had held on to them.
Yeah.
Looking back, because you hold on to that stuff for 20 years.
Yeah.
You're not even paying attention to it.
Right.
It's just building in the background.
Yeah.
I guess I still have time.
We're not 60 yet.
We're not 60. I still have 15 years, so we're 60. There's a lot of teams in this area, right? I feel like DMV is known for teams. You, on the other hand, purposely had a solo career. Yep. Tell me about your thoughts on being a solo agent versus being on a team. Have you thought about that a lot?
Yes, because when I was moving back, so my father did real estate for a really long time around here, and I started my real estate career in LA, in Beverly Hills, and moved back because I was getting older, and just decided that I was kind of done with Hollywood.
Yeah.
And in moving back was like, I'll start working with my father. But, it's really hard as a realtor to get your footing on your own, without a name behind you. And my dad had a name within his community, so that's one of the reasons I kept my last name. I had a moment where I was like, should I join a team? And then I was like, I'll just do my own thing.
Well, I mean, it's obviously worked out for you. I remember a couple of months ago in a hard-ass market, closing 6-7 deals in a month. I mean, that's extremely impressive.
Yeah.
It's interesting because the team thing, I get it, right? It's like, I don't really know what I'm doing. People that are younger, maybe it does make sense on the team thing.
Yes.
But it's great to see, you've taken a different route and done really well.
Yeah, I think that some people, it's interesting because I had a client make a comment the other day about teams, and I just think that some people join teams for that boost of help. Maybe I had a little bit more in me because I was fighting in LA constantly, so that I had a little bit of fight left in me to fight it out myself. But no, I think that one of the best things, and this is not to poo-poo a team at all, but one of the best things that I have to offer is that I'm doing everything. So I can keep my hands on everything and my eye on everything, and nothing gets lost in translation.
Sure. Every detail of the deal and what's going on. It makes a lot of sense. Congrats to us for going to the best college ever, James Madison University.
Yeah.
Thank you. But no, great school. You had mentioned it earlier. Yeah, we might have just missed UVA. But, look, all the people were great.
Best.
The people were great.
It's you got all the social people that had the social skills.
Travis Davidson, called to Travis out in California, but he brought it up. It was a good example. He's like, hey, we're not the 3.8, and actually things are different now. But it's not even hard to get into. But you have a 3.0
Listen,
average.
I was a 4.1.
Of course, well, obviously. But for others that I may have hung out with, you were the B student, but you played all the sports and you were a leader and you did stuff like that.
Exactly.
And you were and socially
you were social.
Really good.
It was a social. It was a social thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even though I did grow up as a UVA fan because my dad went there, my grandfather went there. Sure, I might have gotten in. We don't like talking about it.
Did you get in?
No, of course not. No, I can't read
I was
or write.
waitlisted.
I can't read or write. How would I get in?
Oh, yeah.
But that, with a 4.1, that's impressive. The waitlist is not
no,
easy
it was
back
my
then.
SAT scores.
Yeah.
I left my SATs, and I didn't realize this, but the page in the back for your 2 essays, mine was stuck together.
Yeah.
So I didn't answer 2 of the essays. Still got into JMU.
That was impressive.
Just
That's real. Hey, she didn't even want to answer these.
I didn't even
She's
answer.
so confident in her
and
ability.
And then I hated taking tests so much that my mom was like, well, do you want to retake it? And I was like, no. I'm good. We're good.
I didn't like tests either.
I hated the SATs. And now they don't even have to do them, supposedly.
Really?
I think they're nixing the SATs.
I thought I'd heard stuff about that, but I don't know any details.
bizarre.
I think they've changed the scoring. I don't know how that works. I'm so far behind.
JMU was, honestly, some of the best times in my life, for sure.
They really were just great people.
You know what I think is so interesting is that no one really knew about JMU until of recent because of the football. It's like such a popular school now.
Yeah. So you're saying until football did well? So
I feel like, because football was shitty.
Well, let's talk about that.
Did you ever go to a game?
Well, think about this. So JMU, 2 guys. I got Woody right on my hall. I got another guy on my hall. Our best friend, some of my best friends are on the team. I never went to a game.
No,
I only went to homecoming because the families were there and we all went.
Yeah, maybe I went to.
But I was 100 feet from the stadium at Eagle Hall.
Oh,
which is the best.
Yeah.
And I never went to the games. Feel bad. And then as soon as we leave, it blows up, and then we become a great football school.
I know. It's crazy. But see, why don't we all go to a football game?
We should do that.
We should have gone and seen the Jonas Brothers.
Oh, were they there? Oh, yeah, game day. Yeah. We should have been game day. Yeah, I really should have gone to game day. Because, what are the chances they're going to come back? I mean, maybe one day. When people want to find you on social or a website and, want to hire you to be their agent,
okay.
Where do they find you?
I'm Alexandria, Virginia Lifestyle.
That's your Instagram page.
That's my Instagram page.
Yeah. Is there?
But also,
is there
that's my website. That's also no underscore.
So Alexandria,
Virginia Lifestyle.com.
Hey, it's great seeing you. I'm so glad we got reconnected when I got back here.
I know.
I
thought about it the other day. I was like, Latane you weren't at my wedding.
And then
that's weird. We drifted apart.
Yeah, what happened there? And then the other thing was, it was like, hey, listen, I know we're friends, but we really do have the best title company. So you should try us out. And then you gave us a shot, and you've been using us.
Gave you 2 more? Yeah.
You're crushing right now. You're doing a great job, and I'm glad. It's a fun vibe, and I knew you would fit in well with it, so I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Good to see you.